The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. See, there's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Cry News Talk. It is September 3rd, 2025, episode number 873, Scammin Gavin Coin. My name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ, live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious with a well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. And it is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Wednesday. And if you got the email, if you got the text message, you will know that communication has been reestablished with the one and only Basil Rosewater. The plan is for him to be back tomorrow to do a clubhouse. And if he's not able to do that, then we'll definitely be back next Monday, the 8th of September, where we'll catch up on all the producers at that point. It'll be a nice little producer party then, and welcome Basil back. So he did not die. He did not get arrested for trying to smuggle in drugs. But I was a little surprised to not get as many updates. But of course, there's always something that comes up, gets in the way when it comes to being out in the middle of Black Rock Desert. And I would tend to think that if it's not the technocrats, then it's the principalities and powers who are against those wielding the gospel of Christ. That, they would target individuals trying to spread the truth at Black Rock City, and maybe jamming some of the communications equipment wouldn't be the biggest surprise there. But yeah, there you go. Well, he's home, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, he's already home, and he's just trying to unwind. It is a gruesome trip. It's very demanding physically, so it's something to keep in mind there for anyone who has never gone. I haven't gone, and it's because I know firsthand, just from Basil and talking to Carl and listening to people who have been out there, that it's not for the faint of heart. Like it is actually very tough to be out there in the elements, and I just have not done the plunge yet. But Lord bless those who have, especially on behalf of the gospel, because we know right now people are seeking the truth, and if there aren't anybody evangelizing the truth of Christ in a time like this, then they may never do so. So, okay, real quick, just to mention, there are meetups coming up here, or at least one big one, the Canary Cry, Missouri meetup in downtown Rolla, Saturday, September 27th at 1:11 p.m. Alex's Pizza. And you can go to canarycrymeetups.com to get the update there. And I like this image. I wonder if this is a custom Dove piece. Sir Dove, who's been one of our most prolific artists, who did so much of our art over the years. I think he still tunes in every once in a while, but it seems he was prompted to do some of the artwork here. There's your standard cartoon canary, with a pizza box that says "All Seeing Alex," because this meetup is at Alex's Pizza, and he's holding up a slice of pizza up to one eye, and there's one pepperoni where his eye would be. The All Seeing Alex Pizza meetup be a great time, and go to canarycrymeetups.com because you'll learn about some of the particularly important people, I guess, or just some big names in the Canarium. They're all going to be there at this meetup, so go check it out. Also, I'm told that I have to warn everybody and tell everybody to sign up to the text message alert system.
Shout out to everybody who joined the Canary Cry text message alert system. And all you got to do is text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. And you can send us messages whenever you want.
Yes, do that. It's a way to keep a line of communication with the Canarium. As you know, we have been silenced on places like YouTube in the past, and we've been threatened to get silenced through different email platforms and even payment platforms. Thank the Lord that those things have not been taken away at this time, but we know that that's a thing. So the text message alert system is just another line of communication. There's not, I think as we've been trying to build out the sustainability mechanisms in this new techno world order, I think the way to do it is with volume instead of just one thing, because clearly, depending on one line of communication, whether it's YouTube or X or Rumble or whatever, everyone's kind of looking for that one place where you can get it all. It's just not how it works. You have to create a bundle. You got to create different strands and put them all together so that if a few of those wires get cut, there are other wires that you can maintain throughout the process here. And that's why we have multiple options to stay in touch with us. And the text message alert system is just one of those lines of communication. We cannot respond to the text message. All you got to do is text Canary to 877-740-3226, and you'll get put on the list. And you can text us. You can text back. You can text hello. You can text whatever, memes. People do scriptures, all kinds of stuff. And we'll read some of them on air here just to get things going. 651 says, hello. Just checking in. Where are my Minnesota peeps at? Someone host a meetup. All right, 651, or people in that area. Where are the Minnesota peeps, especially after what happened last week? My goodness. A prayer team, at the very least, Canarium prayer team should definitely be sparked up over there in Minnesota. And I'll tell you this, 651, if nobody else is going to start it, you know what we're going to tell you. You should start it. Go to canarycrymeetups.com and you'll figure out how to do that. It's not that difficult to make the call, and we'll share it and make sure that the word gets out. We also have a message from 907. Greetings from South Central Alaska. Notice that. Oh, you know what? I wish there was a way, technically, actually, you know what? I am going to go ahead and do some technology clickety-clackities and share this with the people. And I won't dox you. I cut off the thing. But here we go. We have a Canarian somewhere in Alaska rocking the Canary Cry News Talk hat over a large body of water. So there's at least one Canarian out there over in South Central Alaska representing. So thank you very much to 907. Appreciate you there. Good thing Alaska's still in one piece after the Putin Trump meeting about a week and a half or a couple weeks ago. 614, prayer works. I heard the orgy tent got destroyed at Burning Man. Yeah, yep. It did get destroyed. We will probably hear more about it from Basil. That's my guess. Let's see. 432 coming in with Psalm 27 and Psalm 56. Thank you very much. It's always good to share some scripture. 337 coming in. I think Greta Thunberg handlers are making her keep her hair childish and doll-like to continue the narrative of innocent child fighting against the system. Unfortunately, she has grown to be a very handsome woman and looking ridiculous. Yeah, I think you might be right. There's a this is interesting. So they shared an image of attempted Trump assassin Ryan Routh. Do you remember him? He's the guy that went to Mar-a-Lago. He stuck a gun through the fence or something before he got caught. Demands a physical confrontation of golf match with Trump in court filings. He's representing himself in court. I mean, that is hilarious. Yeah, I mean, we know that these operative types, whether it's deliberately a controlled thing or simply a product of some kind of psychological and emotional and spiritual manipulation. It seems that they just tend to do all the things you'd want radical folks or people who have been radicalized to do. And I'm referencing Ryan Routh here because when we covered the story about a year and a half ago, right when Trump was the attempted, the bullet that went through his ear or whatever, when he was shot, there was a couple different instances afterward where reports were that people were trying to assassinate him or kill him or whatever, and they got detained. Ryan Routh was one of those people. He had been in mainstream, or at least, like UK or foreign mainstream interviews randomly off the street a couple times in the past before that. And then I think he got caught trying to, I guess, confront Trump by bringing a gun to Mar-a-Lago. And I think he was in the bushes or something in the fence before he was caught. So anyway, good stuff from all the text messengers, and appreciate all of you for that. Let me see. I think I just accidentally closed the text window. I think there was maybe one more I was going to read, but that's okay. It's all right, folks. Just keep them coming, and we will address it when we have an opportunity. And if not, don't get offended. Don't get offended. It's okay. We're glad you're here. We're glad you're around. Okay. Let's see. Oh, real quick. Also, yes, I was told multiple times to make sure to go to the show notes and click on the link that's there after take the survey. The survey is a way for us to get a sentiment analysis on the Canarium, the audience, you guys, the listeners, and it's a small way for you guys to help produce the show. And I know not everybody has the time or the talent. Maybe you don't want to share that talent or the treasure to support a podcast like ours. But if you can spend a few seconds, not even minutes, just a few seconds, clicking on a few questions for us, do it on a potty break or something, we'd really appreciate it. Just go into the description and look for the survey link. It'll help us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong, and help us grow here. So there is that. Okay. Is there anything else I need to mention here before jumping into some stuff? I think we're ready to go. I am going to start with everybody's favorite topic, crypto.
Is this a crypto? Crypto? Do I look like I know what a crypto is?
Don't worry, it's not your typical crypto news. It's a Newsom alert.
It's Newsom science, baby! Ha!
Gavin Newsom wants to launch a meme coin just to troll Trump. Oh, do we have? I mean, I think based on the global liquidity and the crypto cycles, we are near the top of the cycle. The next few months, we're probably going to see some parabolic movement in the crypto markets, and because of the institutional adoption, the dips may be different. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen, folks. I mean, to be honest, I've been in crypto since 2017 and looking at it and studying it and everything. And it does move in cycles. Clearly, I held through the first cycle, 2017, 2021. I mostly held through that one too, which in hindsight should have sold a lot. And I got rugged by Celsius Network. That was fun. The bankruptcy of a big semi-centralized, I guess it was like a bank before all the legalities were in place, or I don't know what was going on. Leverage trading. There was a lot of hanky-panky criminal stuff going on in the background in 2021 with all the different crypto companies that went down. Do you guys remember FTX and Terra Luna? There's a whole bunch of stuff that crashed. I'm worried that if that kind of crash happens again, that this time it's going to take way more, like institutions and all these big corporations, family offices and things that are starting to get into crypto and hold digital asset treasuries and all this, so the theory is that, or the question is it going to dump like it had before? I think Bitcoin fell like 80% last cycle, or because all the big money is starting to come in, it's not going to drop as much because there's big money and there's a lot more people that are invested in something like Bitcoin, and they don't want to see the price go down because their treasury would be destroyed. Will they will they print more money? Will they liquidate other assets? We'll see what happens. but cyclically speaking, specifically just mathematically, we're due for some explosive growth in the next few weeks. It's the cycle blow off top. It usually comes once every 4 years, where the crypto markets just go crazy. Of course, Bitcoin's been going up for a while, but usually when the Bitcoin dominance, which is the percentage of the crypto markets that is Bitcoin, starts going down, that's when we see all the other stuff pump and go crazy for a few weeks, and then the party ends. And once you start seeing people like Gavin Newsom talking about launching a meme coin, I'm paying attention, because we know Gavin Newsom is connected to people that do not have your best interest in mind. And we know, meme coins were cool a few years ago. But when Gavin Newsom talks about meme coins, it's just, it's a top signal. We call it a top signal, meaning we might be at the top of the market. What? You're about to put a meme coin out? I just hearing Gavin Newsom say, we're going to launch a meme coin. Oh my gosh, the cringe, the spine tingling cringe is just off the charts here. And what is he saying? He's saying what? He's saying your coin versus our coin. Man, have we not learned anything? So I think when you look at the meme coin world, clearly over the last year, we saw Politify, which was basically political meme tokens, Tucker Carlson coin, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, but Joe Biden coin, Kamala coin, and it was all just kind of satire, nonsense type of stuff that anybody can launch a coin these days. And when we saw Trump at the beginning of this year, we literally saw, it feels like the biggest scam event. And I know, there might be some Trump supporters out there who get mad when people like myself say this, because I'm not a Democrat, liberal, left, progressive that bows to, the Democrat Party or anything like that. But just looking at the plain numbers and looking at what happened in January, just a couple days before Trump took office, he launched, it wasn't him. He signed off on a group of folks that launched on behalf of him, using the name, whatever the thing was. We don't know all the contracts that were signed. The Trump token, the official meme coin, launched. Trump shared it on his social media, which is how it got the stamp of approval. And we watched the token go from a few $100 million of market cap when it went public to about close to $80 billion within a few days. And then, of course, everything started to rug out after that, go down, and you can see truly the extraction. You saw all the other coins in the market tank because everybody started buying Trump coin, and it was like this weird black hole moment, which is the black hole for the other coins. Really, it was just a pump for Trump, and we saw how that sort of extraction took place. It's truly an extraction, because the public, the retail folks, people like you and I, by the time we hear about it, and I think people that are not in crypto who may for the first time were getting into crypto because of the Trump token, I mean, they probably got wrecked. By the time they get their coins onto a wallet or whatever situation that you can get to buy the token, you're buying it at 50, 60, 70 million or $70 billion market cap. And of course, it's gone down since then. And we don't know if that Trump token is going to recover. But it's when you see something like that, Gavin Newsom, he can't help himself. He's like, I want to do that scam. I want the scam, and setting it up as we're launching a meme coin. It's going to be the Trump corruption coin, and we'll see how good your coin does, Trump. Which is it's hilarious to me, because number one, the Trumps, if you've been paying attention, the Trumps have, and not just Donald Trump, but just the entire Trump family, have distanced themselves with that Trump meme token that was launched earlier this year, because the people who launched it, not the most favorable folks, some people that might be getting in trouble, or at the very least, being called out within the industry for doing some hanky panky on blockchains. And not everything you see on blockchains is isn't good, right? It's a lot of it is a scam. A lot of it is vaporware. It's all just a money grab in a sense. And so when Gavin Newsom says he wants to launch a meme coin to troll Trump, you can troll Trump without launching a meme coin, Gavin Newsom. This is my prediction. The same people who have been behind a lot of the scams, including perhaps the team that was behind the Trump token, because I believe in a sense they might have been the same people who were behind the Libra token. If you guys recall, just a few weeks later, it was the Argentina token, basically from what was his name? The president of Argentina. I'm blanking on his name. Oh, you guys are all in the chat probably telling me what his name is, but I am going to look it up because my brain only does so much. Malay, that's right, Malay. Malay's account on X posted the contract, the meme coin contract, and of course it started to pump as well, but then immediately rugged out. A couple weeks ago, Kanye West launched a token. Everyone, oh, there it goes, and did kind of the same thing. Went to about $1 billion or $2 billion market cap, and then it went down. And it's the same folks scamming out the whole time. And just a couple days ago, there was an article. This is all in the Web3 world in crypto. Zach XBT, who's like one of these blockchain sleuths, these guys that are out there saying they're exposing the crypto industry and all the shenanigans going on, which it's interesting because Zach XBT himself has some interesting on-chain activity. So just got to keep it in mind that it's everyone's on chain now, folks. Zach XBT exposes 160 crypto influencers for undisclosed paid promotions. And yeah, there was a big list that came out, and it listed a whole bunch of handles of X accounts who were accepting various amounts of money to post about some project that was trying to get out there. And I've talked about this before on the show because just to keep people apprised, or warn if they have friends or family who are going into crypto, because especially as the markets pump and retail and the public starts getting interested again, because the interest wanes. The people come and go when it comes to crypto, because most people, your average person, doesn't want to buy or do anything with crypto unless everything is pumping and everybody's talking about it. And by the time it's that point when everybody wants to get in, the people that are actually making money, those are the ones that have been around for a long time and building their portfolios and bought much cheaper, and they're the ones selling to the general public for a massive profit. So don't become exit liquidity. You can wait until the cycle comes back down and things are low. It's a very simple principle: buy low, sell high. Of course, it's been the same for the stock markets and everything else, but it is very difficult. The crypto thing exposes a lot of human emotion, human psychology, because people can't help themselves when a coin is going up, a price is going up. And I know the feeling. It's called FOMO, fear of missing out. It's like, oh, I better buy some before it's too late. This is going to change the world. And guaranteed in the next few months, we're going to hear about how crypto is changing the world, and this chain and that chain is going to change the world. And certainly it will, and it has. All the financial rails are being upgraded to blockchain. It's going to happen. I think who was it? Treasury Secretary last week said that the GDP of America is going to be on a blockchain. I mean, my goodness, I forgot to bring that story, but maybe I can find the clip real quick.
Blockchain.
But the blockchain is taking over all the computing mechanisms, especially when it comes to record keeping. So this is happening. Gavin Newsom stepping in and saying he wants to do this is, I think this is an extraction event. Obviously, Gavin or his team or whatever, they want to make some money from this. They want to extract from the public because they probably know that in the next few weeks and months, we're going to get a return of meme coins. Liquidity is going to flow into crypto in a big way before maybe one of the biggest historical rug pulls. We'll probably see, Bitcoin go down like 50 or 60%, which at this level is a lot. You're talking about like $1 trillion of selling pressure coming into the crypto markets. But I think it's normal. It's normal. It's just if you've been in crypto, you're expecting big pullbacks, and you get used to it. People in the stock market because the stock market has been manipulated for so many years for things not to crash. People are used to feeling safe and not used to the volatility, but that's where a lot of the money is made, the volatility. So I'm very curious what this is going to look like with Gavin Newsom. He's going to probably tweet out or post a contract address. I'm curious to know what chain it's going to be on. My guess is it's going to be on the Solana blockchain, just because he's, Silicon Valley. That's kind of where Solana kicks around and stuff. So I think it's going to be Solana, although it could be any other chain. And we will see it pump. Some people will get in there, make some money, get out. Other people are going to get wrecked. And this is just the nature of this whole industry. But it's, man, it was cool when Trump coin came out in January, billions of dollars in market cap in a few hours. But when Gavin Newsom gets in, my only thing is like, if you're a shrewd person, you might be able to do well with this if you're paying attention and you get in really early. But do you really want to touch the Newsom coin? Do you do you really want to be a Gavin Newsom coin whale who gets invited to a Newsom dinner? I mean, maybe there's something there. They're going to do another lockdown. They shut down California or the whole country or the world or whatever. And you can just hit up Newsom, be like, hey, Gavin, look, I got your coin. Hook me up with that French laundry meal so we don't have to put on our mask, So let's just keep an eye on this. I think it's just ridiculous. I love the clip. It's so cringe. And you can even tell, I don't know who this interviewer is here, but their reaction is even almost, it's like, oh, okay. Like surprised, Oh, so again, I don't know if he's talking about the Trump meme token or if they're talking about World Liberty Finance, which also just launched this week, even though pre-sale for uh, the folks who had accredited investors, meaning you have a balance sheet of over $1 million, or I think it was like $250,000 a year annual income. Those people qualified for the pre-sale and they got to buy the World Liberty Finance token at like 1 cent or 5 cents. And when it launched last week or this week, I guess it was a couple days ago on Monday, the launch price was like 20 cents or something. So, people that got in early, those millionaires who got in early, if they threw in, $1 million, they made 20 million off of it. I don't think they could sell everything at once, but again, it's all insider trading all the way around. That's kind of what I've been learning, is that you don't really have good guys and bad guys necessarily. Everybody's doing the scam, especially in crypto. It's like it's all a Ponzi scheme. And so, but it's just a matter of, okay, are you going to do an ethical Ponzi scheme, or are you going to do an evil one where you really take it from the public? And there's a fine line there, because when some asset goes up and somebody sells, that means somebody's losing. And so there is a push-pull here, but that's been the case for all markets and all, even the stock market. And of course, that's what the problem with Wall Street has been, is that these insiders, they trade on news and information that is not public yet, to front run the public. And then once the public comes in, then, your stock rises. And if at that point they decide to sell, then they are extracting money from the public, and they're doing it in a quote unquote legal way, I guess. I mean, they're trying to make the whole Nancy Pelosi thing and make it illegal for senators and people in government to trade. But to me personally, like the workaround with that is the politicians and all these people launching their own coins. And now that Trump did it in January, it's fair game. Anybody can launch a token. And of course, all of this, these are just little tiny steps leading toward the mark of the beast, the worship of the image, and all these things. These are just tiny little steps. And I think it's going to ebb and flow like with anything. But with Gavin Newsom in particular, I'm reminded of 1 Timothy 6:10, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, for which some have strayed from the faith in their greediness and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. And the pursuit, greed is such an interesting and powerful emotion. And I will tell you that I've never felt like a greedy person. I really never have. I've always felt to be a generous and kind person. At least I considered myself that. But I'm just being honest in my reflections. Last cycle, when my portfolio was doing very well, I had a certain number in mind that I wanted to reach. And because I was well on my way there, but because I didn't get to that number, I held out and did not sell. And in the moment, it felt like I was being prudent. In the moment, I thought, no, I'm just being disciplined and I'm going to stick to my guns and whatnot. In hindsight, that was greed, because instead of being happy with what I could have had and could have cashed out, I sought and had a goal for a bigger number. And so this time around, I'm playing it a little bit safer and just trying to be a little smarter about things and looking for communities and assets that are actually fairly tangible in a sense. I mean, somewhat literal in some cases. So I've been trying to move a different way this cycle, but it's a true thing. Greed is, just being honest with you, it is something that if you've never experienced before, you're not going to know it's necessarily greed. And just in hindsight and experience, I look back and I go, wow, that was pure greed. And I didn't even feel it like I was being greedy. So it's one of these learning experiences and just different things going through life that maybe you can learn from without actually having to go through the consequences of an action or an inaction. So there you go, Gavin Newsom coin. We'll see how this plays out. I probably am not going to touch the Gavin Newsom coin. No, thank you. I don't want any digital fingerprints on the coin at any level. No, thank you. That is not my thing here. But yes. Okay. One last point about it. The scammers who scammed with the Trump coin, I believe, might be behind the Gavin coin. That's just a speculation. Just a speculation. And we'll have to see. Okay, let's get into some Trump news here. Trump everywhere in many different, places. It's like the Trump tentacles are everywhere right now.
We will launch a new age. I am
innocent.
They're coming after me.
So last weekend, the Trump is dead thing trended. We covered it on Monday. And Trump responded to the Trump is dead thing. And this is what he had to say. It starts off with a reporter here. Oh, is there no sound for you guys? Bummer. Okay, that tends to happen every once in a while. I don't know why that happens. Let me try this real quick here. What I'm going to have to do is stop sharing, reshare. Let's see. Boom. All right, now let's try it again. Sorry about that, folks.
Something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him. And we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors.
There you go. He's briefed on it. He saw reports, and yeah, he was truthing on Truth Social. He was doing interviews. It's an example of the power of social media, the power of the hive mind, where siloed hive minds is kind of what I talked about, where, if you're on a certain social media platform and something trends and people think that thing is going on, but then you go to a different social media platform and a completely different thing is going on, you're going to have different universes going on here. People are not going to know what's really happening because they're getting a filtered piece of information from one platform and then something that contradicts it on another platform. And Trump is dead is a good one to test this with, because it is such a, I guess it's one of the biggest, it would be the biggest world news event, right? The whole world would stop and will stop when, if and when, Donald Trump passes away. It'll be a moment that everybody stops doing what they're doing. It'll be a moment that people remember, that sort of thing. So it is a powerful topic to test sociologically how maybe the different platforms are operating. And we clearly saw on X that the 50% of the liberal Democrats that are on the platform were activated when this hashtag went viral. And I do wonder, because with Elon Musk behind the controls there at X, and we know there was a little bit of a fallout between Trump and Elon. I think that had to do not just with disagreements with Doge or something like that. I think it has a little bit more to do with maybe the loyalties of certain leaders in this country to other nation states and their leaders and their agenda and things like that. So I think there's a deeper rabbit hole there, but Elon did bust out the Trump is on the Epstein list as part of his, I'm going to take you down Trump moment, before they made friends again and then deleted those tweets. And then, of course, then Elon went with the America Party angle, saying that, releasing the Epstein files will be part of the America Party plan. And that whole thing is just very strange. So the hive mind is real, and you can see it's palpable when it comes to stories like this. If you're analyzing these stories from outside of the bubbles and looking at it sociologically. Collective consciousness. And speaking of Epstein and the Epstein list, that's the other big story that's happening today.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Over 33,000 pages of investigation were posted online by the House Oversight Panel.
33 is the number of completion of the Great War.
Yes, 33. I did not misspeak. This is Times of India. I chose Times of India because we know Times of India is like it's like a foreign American intel op or something. Epstein shadow on Trump. 33K pages, redacted records, and missing minute from jail video in new dump. So there you go. New dump has come out, and the momentum of the Epstein files is truly the linchpin. It is the catalyst. It's like the last straw, or I don't know. It's like all of political corruption is being held back by a shoelace, which is just like the Epstein files. You unplug that and the whole thing just starts to crumble. That's what it seems like anyway. But it is interesting to see the different party politics and loyalties happening when it comes to this topic of Epstein. We know that it's been a divisive issue in the last few months, because it does tie back to modern nation state Israel. It ties back to a whole bunch of, it's like a little entrance to a much larger rabbit trail going on with everything. And it's been the case for a long time. The Epstein topic is, as far as a publicly understood topic is, or at least, a publicly curious topic for especially truth-seeking individuals, it's been about a decade where the whole world kind of found out about Epstein's stuff going on. And so, it's interesting to watch how things continue to unfold and how it's been strung along for so long. and we're seeing some different people come together to try to push for the release of all the documents, not just the 33,000 pages here, but literally all the documents. And one of those individuals is Thomas Massie, who is a Republican, who's been kind of outspoken about he's not anti-Trump per se, but he does critique Trump's moves, especially if they're, unconstitutional. And Thomas Massie has been one of my more, not favorite. I'm not going to say favorite. I don't have any favorite politicians per se, but more of your, I would say, just agreeable politicians out there or senators. And he's been trying to defend the Constitution. He's a little bit more libertarian in his approach to things, which resonates with me personally. So he's been a guy that I've been paying attention to, and he put together a release the Epstein files event with Ro Khanna, and I believe Ro Khanna is a Democrat, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check on that. I'm not like super engaged with all the political stuff, but not Ro Khanna. Ro Khanna the other? Oh, okay. Yes, it is Ro Khanna. Congressman Ro Khanna is he's District of California, so I'm going to assume that he's a Democrat. Otherwise, he would not be. No, maybe not. Maybe he's a Republican. It doesn't even say on his bio. How do you not have your party affiliation there? Okay, well, in any case. Anyway, so they were doing this rally, and some very interesting things were said. Here's a couple clips. Let me know if you can't hear them.
Transparency is justice. Release the files, end the secrecy, and stand with us in declaring that no one, no billionaires, no politicians, not world leaders, is above the law.
State the obvious, get the cheers.
Several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names.
Aha.
We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that.
Wow. Talk about hype. She's a hype woman. So the victims are going to put together their own list. Very interesting. What kind of weight will this list have in a court of law, or really does it even matter? Does a court of law even matter right now? It really is about the court of public opinion for the most part, is it not? I know there are legalities involved here, but I'm very curious to find out, because what if there's, it's one thing if you have all the victims agree to a particular name, but what if there's a name that only one person mentions? Is it, are they going to, I don't know. This is interesting. We'll see how this all plays out, but it does kind of spark of an op, or it just smells like op, where, man, if you're going to fork a civilization, if you're going to fork society and push it a certain direction, you create martyrs, you create a revolution. And I'm not saying that these women are not being genuine about it, because, I don't know. I don't know if they're put their faces out there and declare publicly to the world that they are victims of this situation. So I'm not denying that they've been abused in a certain way. And of course they're living with trauma. But that's exactly how the MK Ultra mind control stuff works, right? It's trauma-based mind control. Trauma suspends certain things about your mind, spiritually speaking. And this is stuff I learned over the years from friends like Russ Dizdar and L.A. Marzulli, is that the trauma splinters the personalities. And if the practitioner, the occultist, the esotericists, if they know what they're doing, they can assign demons to those sub-personalities, and that way those demons can stay hidden within a person for years, maybe, until they are activated. And so we don't know what kind of ritual abuse these women have gone through. And again, it's not to say that they aren't victims. I am almost certain they are of one form or another, but is coming together in a revolution, was that part of some kind of agenda? Because this, having a group of victimized women publicly declare certain individuals and try to take down this whole system, this whole apparatus, like, man, that is, while Greta is on a boat trying to break through into Gaza, this is a whole different thing. All right, I'm getting pinged in the comments. What's going on? Is there something happening? Okay. All right. I don't know. I'm not sure. I get confused, guys. Here's another clip from this rally. No sound again? Man, what is going on with this thing? All right, let me try this again. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Every time I try to play a clip, I'm getting no sound from you guys, or at least you guys are saying there's no sound. All right, let me try it again. Man, this is really excruciating. Here we go once again.
Epstein surrounded himself, with the most powerful leaders of our country and the world. He abused not only me, but countless others, and everyone seemed to look away. The truth is, Epstein had a free pass. He bragged about his powerful friends, including our current president, Donald Trump. It was his biggest brag, actually. And while what I endured will haunt me forever, I live every day with PTSD. I live as a mother trying to raise my child while distrusting a world that has betrayed me. This kind of trauma never leaves you. It breaks families apart. It shapes the way we see everyone around us. But one thing is certain, unless we learn from this history, monsters like Epstein will rise again. There are files, government files, that hold the truth about Epstein, who he knew, who owed him, who protected him, and why he was allowed to operate for so long without consequence. Why was Maxwell the only one held accountable when so many others played a role? Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And
do you think AI wrote that? It's not this, but it's that?
Not protection, it's complicity.
Well, let me play it one more time here.
Why does the government hide this information from the public? This secrecy is not protection, it's complicity. And as long as the truth is buried, justice will remain out of reach. That is why this bill matters. Passing it will, bless you, ensure that the suffering of survivors is not in vain. Passing it will bring accountability, transparency, and prevention. It will help protect the next generation of predators who seek to place themselves above the law through wealth, influence, and connections. This is not just my story. It is about every survivor who
not this, it's that.
Carries invisible scars. It's about the weight we live with daily. It is about the families broken and the future stolen. So I ask you, President Trump and members of Congress, why do we continue to cover up sexual abuse and assault? Who are we covering for? Let the public know the truth. We cannot heal without justice. We cannot protect the future if we refuse to confront the past.
All right. So, she's making the solid points there that make logical sense. I believe that, of course, we want transparency. And we started to see that a couple years ago. I started to say, I don't know, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, maybe it was even during COVID or before. I don't know if it was before COVID, but I had pointed out transparency will become a major political issue. And it always has been, right? I know Obama talked about need transparency and whatnot, but a different type of transparency where it's not just about, the public gets to know stuff, but things happening on maybe a public ledger that everybody can check out, kind of thing. So meanwhile, so you have the Democrat Ro Khanna and Republican Thomas Massie coming together to do this Epstein rally. An Epstein survivor was on NBC, and she was asked if Trump had done anything inappropriate. And this is a clip going around for that. Hopefully,
I do have to ask, and I know, and it's just something that I think we're compelled to at this moment, with the attention on President Trump, with these questions around a pardon. Did anybody see or hear of the president himself doing anything inappropriate as it related to Jeffrey Epstein?
No, that's it. And it's curiously clipped too, because, and I think who was the one that shared this is a leading report. Just because she says no, I don't know if there was a follow up or if there was more she said there, but it's interesting that it's the two narratives. Isn't it interesting? The two narratives it's literally, like I said, it's turning the American political system not upside down per se, but it does seem really wobbly right now as this topic plays out. Now here's Trump responding again to some of the Epstein questions.
But many of your friends and donors maybe, and he says that's why the Justice Department is redacting them and slow walking the release. Is the Justice Department protecting any friends or donors, sir?
So this is a Democrat hoax that never ends. You know, it reminds me a little of the Kennedy situation. We gave him everything over and over again, more and more and more, and nobody's ever satisfied. From what I understand, I could check, but from what I understand, thousands of pages of documents have been given. But it's really a Democrat hoax because they're trying to get people to talk about something that's totally irrelevant to the success that we've had as a nation since I've been president. Even if you look at D.C. right now, D.C., it's a totally safe zone. It's called a safe zone. That's a term. It's a term of art. It's a safe zone because it's very safe. You can walk down the street now.
It's a safe zone because it's very safe.
And nothing's going to happen. No crime, no murders, no nothing. Because we had a lot of problems with certain places, and we still do. All run by Democrats, or for the most part, run by Democrats. So what they're trying to do with the Epstein hoax is get people to talk about that instead of speaking about the tremendous success, like ending 7 wars. I ended 7 wars. Nobody's going to talk about because they're going to talk about the Epstein, whatever. I understand that we were subpoenaed to give files, and I understand we've given thousands of pages of files. And I know that no matter what you do, it's going to keep going. And I think it's enough because I think we should talk about the greatness of our country and the success that we're having. I think we're probably having, according to what I read, even from 2 people in this room, we're having the most successful 8 months of any president ever. And that's what I want to talk about. That's what we should be talking about, not the Epstein hoax.
The Epstein hoax. He keeps calling it the Epstein hoax. And I do find it interesting, his whole thing about let's not talk about Epstein. Let's talk about how great, America is and how well we're doing and everything else. How great we're scamming the public with the market pumps. Because the truth, in my opinion, is that we should keep tabs with this Epstein story. Obviously, it's a one of the biggest stories in the world that is ongoing, and it's probably not going to stop. They're going to milk as much the mainstream and the alt media, everybody doing truth-seeking type of content. The Epstein topic, look, I'm talking about it right now just because it is such a big issue. It's going to be milked for a while, I think. I don't know that any resolution will come from it anytime soon. But having Trump say, let's not pay attention to it, pay attention to this instead, that also seems a little bit of a misdirection because there are probably other issues that, if it's not the Epstein issue, would pop up as a problem. And maybe, Trump doesn't want people talking about other things. They want to stay positive. There's a part of me that thinks, you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Like, let's just get off the negative. Let's focus on the positive things here. I can see that sentiment, but it does bring up the question. It begs the question about his involvement or his fingerprints or whatever is going on with him and Epstein. We know there's a history there. We don't know all of what the relationship was and what it involved. And Is there criminal activity on the part of Trump or not? And so with all of this, we can sort of assess here that either there is actual weight to this idea that the Epstein list will pretty much indict Donald Trump because his name is going to be in there, that he did the horrific acts that everybody kind of knows the Epstein files for, which it helps the narrative for people trying to call it out and say that he is on the list or he is a part of this, because if Trump's out here saying, let's stop paying attention to it, that's, again, it's the greatest reverse psychology Streisand effect, where it's like, don't pay attention to it, causes everybody to pay attention to it more. Or one could argue that maybe Trump is doing that to create the Streisand effect in order for everybody to pay attention to it because he knows he's not on that list. And it's a great way to, kind of keep the thing going. But on the part of Thomas Massie, this is where I'm a little bit more curious, because Massie is a little bit more openly libertarian. And again, as I mentioned earlier, stuff he says and the stuff he's talked about, they tickle my ears, I will say. I read it and I go, oh yeah, that's a politician that kind of knows what's going on or whatever, right? That's the vibe I got from Thomas Massie, because he obviously pushed back on the Democrat left type of agenda, but he was also being upfront and honest about what was going on with the conservative party, the Republicans, Trump, all that stuff. So either Massie is somehow sold out to the other side, it's in this image of bridge building, of teaming up with Ro Khanna to put together this release the Epstein files type of event. So is it, or was he an operative for the Democrats to create? Because a bridge is a bridge. A bridge connects both sides, right? Both sides benefit when you build a bridge. So in that sense, Thomas Massie building a bridge to the Democrats benefits the Democrats because they have somebody who's on a libertarian, someone who has been calling out both sides. They have someone that sort of brings those centrists over to the Democrat side, while for Thomas Massie, this is, again, just more of an opportunity to continue being at the forefront of these cultural, political topics like Epstein and the Epstein list. And it allows him to continue to be in the spotlight. So I just wonder, or is he being duped into it? That's the other thing. Did he get duped into it? Was his heart in the good place? Like, I want to actually build a legitimate bridge and extend it, work with people that are, publicly sort of against us politically, but showing that this Epstein topic transcends party politics, and, as a demonstration of that. But then, of course, somebody always gets exploited in that type of arrangement. That is politics. That is American politics. You let your guard down. Your kindness is going to get taken advantage of. But we'll have to see. I don't know. I'm really uncertain about that, and that's kind of why you don't trust any politician. Like, every politician got to where they were because of certain things they did, and that's not to say that. Especially the believers who are in politics, I think it's important, and be open and frank about your faith, and God will place the right people in the right places, and God will allow certain people to be in certain places of power because that is His will. And if that is something that we need to experience or we deserve to experience in some way, then that's what it is. It's all under God's sovereignty and prerogative, which is something we preach here a lot on the show, because the world is so chaotic and up and down, and there's so many things. You get pulled this way, you get pulled that way. There's all these topics, this, that, and the other thing. You can get lost in the rabbit trail. So we try to always say that, hey, this is all happening under the sovereignty of God. He's still under control, and he told us long ago through the Word that there will be a point of justice, judgment that makes everything right. And that's the hope that we have. It's a hope that transcends any world systems or world politics. And sure, do we want to see justice come to those, especially for the victims of things like the Epstein situation? Of course we want to see justice and the people who deserve to be arrested and furthermore, whatever, like all that stuff, we want to see it happen. But I would argue because a whole bunch of non-believers are, up to speed on the Epstein topic, and they would like to see some justice take place. I would argue that the mere fact that there are non-Jesus followers out there who also would like to see some kind of justice with this particular situation suggests that there is an objective moral value that exists outside of, time, space, if you will, that is beyond just our experience. And the only explanation for that is God. So even if you don't believe in God, if you're appealing to some kind of moral standard, you are by default presupposing that there is a lawgiver in that sense. So, yep, tough luck to those who, think they're just being a good person, but don't believe in God. They want to see justice with the Epstein case. You're actually, if you think about it deeply enough, you're actually making a case for the existence of God. Who else is going to make an apologetic argument out of the Epstein case? I don't know any other podcast doing that. You're welcome, folks. Trump has his tentacles in other areas as well. He might be doing a little 180 in this other area. This is concerning the vaccines.
It's Corona time. COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19,
yes. COVID-19, COVID-19.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Vaccine.
I'm being told that the audio has stopped working again on the browser. What is going on with this browser? Man, this is crazy. Okay, this is coming from NBC News. Trump demands pharmaceutical companies release COVID drug success rates. Interesting.
President Trump is taking aim at pharmaceutical companies, demanding that they release data on their COVID vaccines. The president posted on Truth Social yesterday, questioning whether the shots actually saved millions of lives. In fact, he said the issue is ripping the CDC apart.
Meanwhile, critics see this all as an effort by President Trump to appeal to his MAGA base. His top health official, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., has been accused of rejecting the science behind those vaccines, fueling a culture of skepticism. NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haig joins us now from his post. Garrett, the president appears to be walking a pretty, fine line here. Why is he doubting the effectiveness of a vaccine that was essentially developed under his watch?
Yeah, Morgan, this is an issue in which the president and his base seem to be in different places, and that is rare for this president. He has long touted Operation Warp Speed. The effort that created these vaccines is one of the big successes of his first term, and here appears to put some distance between himself and its result. Those COVID vaccines, which by some estimates saved something like 20 million lives in their first year alone. But there's a significant portion of his base that, especially during the mandate era of COVID vaccines, became very turned off by them in general. That section of his base is personified by Robert F. Kennedy Jr., his head of HHS. And so here you see the president kind of doing a complicated bit of distancing himself from those vaccines while calling for more data that he suggests could back up his view that the Operation Warp Speed was in fact brilliant.
And part of Trump's post said, "I've been shown information from Pfizer and others that is extraordinary, but they never seem to show those results to the public. Why not?" He continued, quote, "They go off to the next hunt and let everyone rip themselves apart, including Bobby Kennedy Jr. and CDC, trying to figure out the success or failure of the drug company's COVID work. They show me great numbers and results, but they don't seem to be showing them to many others. I want them to show them now. I want them to show them now to CDC and the public and clear up this mess one way or the other." Interesting. This is setting up maybe a 180 from Trump when it comes to Operation Warping the Human Seed. Trump did not specify if he was referring to vaccines that have reduced the death rates to COVID-19 or if he was referring to the drugs such as Paxlovid that helps manage its symptoms. But he wrote that he hoped Operation Warp Speed, which dealt with vaccine development, was as, quote, brilliant as many say it was. Oh, man. Oh, boy. It's always been true with Trump that he can't be everywhere at once. He's not God. He has people reporting things to him, and whoever was tasked to do the whole vaccine Operation Warp Speed and all that, they clearly were not doing things on behalf of the public. They were probably doing so for the benefit of the big pharma corporations like Pfizer. And it's just, I don't know. It's not surprising, but it's also disappointing to think that all the data that's come out when it comes to the ineffectiveness of the vaccines and truly just the aftermath of health concerns throughout the world from this thing, that Trump is like, oh, I was told it was good. I was told it was just great. So if it's, I don't know, they're showing me the numbers. Why they're not showing the public? And that's his only angle to this, is that, hey, I was shown the numbers. It just exposes how, with who knows how many different things, Trump truly is just a politician talking head. You know, he is as great as he's been as a president and everything. He's dependent a lot on people that do the work for him and come give him the reports. And he's just the guy that says it out there in public. And, if it's not the Trump meme coin that clearly exposed some of those deficiencies, and it's true with anybody who's so popular and a politician, world changer, the biggest influencers in the world, they're not everywhere at once. They can only do so much. And so they start depending on the people around them to give them reports or tell them what to think or what to do or what to advertise, whatever it may be. And as soon as you lose a little bit of that autonomy as an individual, because the brand is bigger than the individual, you are susceptible to promote things that are not in the best interest of the people. And at that level of Trump, with being in the seat of the president back in the 2016 to 2020, that the I guess the deception or the ability to be deceived in that way was palpable, especially if it was coordinated. If somebody knew that there was going to be some kind of pandemic and then a vaccine agenda to follow to curtail this problem, you would squeeze in, or you would try to get your people, or the individuals that will help Trump sign off on something like this. You want to get them into positions of power that are ready to go. And so that I'm sure the operations to get those people in front of Trump were long before the pandemic even started. And so, those are areas to look into and see how some of those folks may have positioned themselves to make sure that by the time, because was it Trump when he was shown like, 2 million people might die from this, so he had to lock down. It's when you do just a computer simulation on something and you tell the president, hey, if you don't do something, 2 million people can die, the narrative will, even if the action is unconstitutional and truly like an authoritarian moment, the narrative craft that will come from that is, I saved 2 million lives. And that's what the politician gets to do, because that was the information that was presented that shaped his decision to do something. So, man, it is it's a long rabbit trail. It's a messy one. I am interested to see what comes out of this particular situation. Is it just Trump trying to save his base, trying to keep some of his people because of this issue? This vaccine issue truly has split Trump supporters in a sense. And we knew this was going to happen. I feel like people set aside these things during 2024, during the election, the lesser of two evils. It's like, all right, we'll get Trump back in there because Lord knows what will happen if Kamala becomes president of the United States. It'll just keep scamming, just in a different way. The cultural tone would have been different than it is now. But I think there was a tipping point of conservatives and populists who rose up. They were the louder voice, and so they get their moment in the sun here with a second Trump term. But clearly we see that the very issues that were brought up to maybe not split all the way, but at least create fissures within the MAGA movement prior to Trump's second election. It's all coming back to the surface, and now it looks like Trump is handling it a little differently. Because prior it was, anytime that Operation Warp Speed stuff came up, he said the company line. He was like, "We saved billions of lives. Nobody's done it better. It's the greatest thing. It's the greatest achievement." Blah 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 blah. The whole spiel. But now he sees the issues there. And I'm sure Robert F. Kennedy has something to do with that. Again, who knows? I don't know what the ultimate motivation is for Trump here in this situation. You can come up with multiple possibilities, but we know that it's all part of maintaining your attention, maintaining political support at the highest levels, because they don't want to lose. They don't want to lose your vote. You must vote to keep people in power. Speaking of people in power, we had a meeting. We had a mastermind of totalitarian dictators.
Russia.
Between the president of Russia, I'll call him the CEO of Russia, Putin. The leader of the Chinese Communist Party, Xi Jinping. And do I have a North Korea jingle? Let me check. I do.
North Korea is kind of a bench warmer.
Oh yeah, baby. The meeting of the minds. The triad is complete. Kim Jong-un, Vladimir Putin, and Xi Jinping have a meeting. They come together. This is some world domination type of stuff right here. This is a 13-second clip of the moment when they're all kind of greeting each other. Hug! Double hug! Oh, look at that. Look at this. Incredible. And the clip that's going viral, though, is the one where Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un are all walking together in front of a line of people, a big succession of people on this giant red carpet. And there are some translations going on of what they're talking about. And it's very interesting. First of all, Xi Jinping, the tallest one out of the bunch, and Putin, shortest one out of the bunch. That kind of surprised me. I know Putin's not a big dude, but yeah, interesting. This is what the sounds. I'll read the captions so you guys can understand what's happening here. Here's the footage. They're walking. Xi Jinping in Mandarin. Hold on, I'm going to try to turn it down a little bit here. Xi Jinping in Mandarin. These days, 70 years old. Earlier, people rarely lived to 70, but these days, at 70 years old, you are a baby. You're still a child. Chatting it up. Putin speaks something inaudible. Still walking and talking. Translator in Mandarin. With the development of biotechnology, human organs can be continuously transplanted, and people can live younger and younger and even achieve immortality. Predictions this century, there's a chance of also living to 150 years. 50 years old. Okay. Listen, I don't think there are any mistakes, okay? You get three of the most powerful people in the world meeting together and you get audio leaks. I don't think so. This is a deliberate part of the op here. They want the world to know what these world leaders are talking about.
My generation is, hopefully with the advances in science, the first generation to live forever, or the last generation that's going to die.
What do they all have in common, all these world leaders? They seem to be pursuing immortality. Why? What is it about immortality that is so enticing? And why is this the thing that leaks out from this meeting? Makes you wonder. There's a couple scriptures for this, and it's been used before. in many different contexts, coming from Psalm 2, the first couple verses there. Why do the nations rage and the people plot a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed. I don't think Putin, well, I don't know. I don't know, but my assumption is Putin, Xi Jinping, and Kim Jong-un are not, they're not going home and all of a sudden, they put on the satanic robe there and they're lighting dark black goo incense and worshiping Satan. I don't know that that's what's going on, but the Antichrist spirit, which we know is been around and is roaming and has been building and building for centuries upon centuries. We know the Antichrist spirit. We will know them by their fruits. We can kind of tell when the Antichrist spirit is moving around the world. And I think it's been part of the church's mission and job to be as watchmen, to call those things out when we see them. And this is just one of those examples, because the pursuit of immortality is precisely Antichrist in the sense that Christ is the representation of defeating death and achieving eternal life through the work of Jesus Christ, the Son of God, on the cross. So if you're going to seek immortality by any other means, you are de facto Antichrist. I mean, it's pretty logical to me. I don't think I'm making a stretch to suggest that any pursuit of eternal life apart from Christ is Antichrist. So why are all these world leaders talking about this? They're not talking about other geopolitical issues or solving problems. I mean, they talk about Ukraine. Putin came out and talked about Ukraine and these other issues, but what's heard? What's the leak? What's overheard from the mics? What did the hot mic catch? Oh, them talking about living forever. Good. That's a good sign. That's a good sign when world leaders are talking about that, right? Man, it's just so indicative of where we are in the timeline, God's great plan, his timeline, where truly, Jesus talked about the days of Noah, and one could argue people in the days of Noah were living a little bit longer than they are now. So could we live in the next few centuries as a human species, live a little bit longer than people had in the past? I don't think it's out of the question, especially with what they're talking about here with biotechnology, human organs. That's another, the rabbit trail on, I mean, this rabbit trail is already pretty big. And look, it's where we've been, it's where we've set shop for a while, is that the rabbit trail of transhumanism when it comes to biblical prophecy and how it all relates. But for them to mention in Mandarin human organ stuff, the rabbit trail is huge, because you have synthetic human organ growth. You also have the human trafficking problem that's associated with this on the darker side of things, either direct human organ trafficking or actual human trafficking as part of that apparatus. We know that there's some horrific things going on in that regard. So there's that whole part of the rabbit trail to consider. But man, there's nothing else to talk about, huh? They got everything. They got all the things. They got the power. They got the money. They got the influence. And all they can talk about is, we're going to live forever. Check it out. Who's going to bust out the DNA upgrade first? That's what, do we want the Putin brand? The Putin shot? Or do we want the Xi Jinping transhumanist protocol? Or maybe the Kim Jong-un? The Kim Jong-un North Korean flavored biotech upgrade. I don't know, but this is it's just a very interesting thing. You can really see how a 10 Kings situation can arise rather quickly in this type of political and geopolitical climate. And this video was actually shared by OSTN Defender. Oh, I thought it was a different person who shared this. Oh, maybe I got rid of it. I thought it was the Bricks who shared this. Oh, the Bricks was the one that shared the first clip. Yeah, Bricks News. President Putin officially invites North Korean President Kim Jong-un to Russia. Of course, failing to mention Xi Jinping is also there. But according to OSINT Defender, in a hot mic conversation between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russia's Vladimir Putin, captured by the Chinese state media broadcaster CCTV prior to yesterday's celebration and military parade in Beijing, the two leaders can be heard discussing human organ transplants and the possibility of living to 150 or even forever. While walking towards Tiananmen Square for the parade, Putin's translator could be heard saying in Chinese, "Biotechnology is continuously developing." Out of all the things to say, that's what Putin says. The translator added after an inaudible message by Putin to Xi, quote, "Human organs can be continuously transplanted. The longer you live, the younger you become, and you can even achieve immortality." Why would you want to achieve immortality in this fallen state? Unless you are one of the more powerful people in this world and you live as gods already. You know, you have the minions of people, you have the control, the power, the money, the influence, you have all the things because maybe you accepted the offer in the desert. The same temptation that was offered to Jesus in exchange for worship by the devil. Maybe these folks are like, hey, it sounds good to me. Where do I sign? And now all they can talk about is this whole thing here. Psalm 118:8, it's better to trust in the Lord than to put confidence in man. Ain't that the truth? You know, in every regard, it doesn't matter if it's Trump, Putin, Xi Jinping, it doesn't matter. You know, and I think there is something to be said about supporting these individuals. If you are politically aligned with certain issues, look, this is how the world is right now, so I understand that is a thing. But if you start thinking that these individuals are going to save civilization or save your life or make your life better, those things are, not only is there no guarantee of that, it's putting your promise or you're putting your hope in something that it has a record of failing over and over and over again. Now, I will say with President Trump, there is something that we owed President Trump, at least as a content creator, and that is the update here that, I mean, I don't like this headline because I don't consider myself an influencer, but Business Insider, influencers are among the winners of Trump's no tax on tips policy. And it's because in the document that talked about the no tax on tips, it mentions podcasters, live streamers, online video creators, social media influencers, podcasters. So the Trump presidency has directly affected my pocketbook because I get an exemption of up to, I think it's like $25,000 or something like that on my income because I'm a podcaster. So this is great. Thank you, President Trump, for this incredible thing, because this really helps me out. I did the past couple of years with the thing. It's been it's put me in a little bit of a tough spot with all this stuff. But this is great. This is fantastic. I am thrilled about this. It says many influencers derive the bulk of their earnings from advertising or brand deals. We do not, actually. We don't do that here. However, some, including Twitch streamers and OnlyFans creators, lean towards subscription and tips. Yes. This is, I mean, we are not only. I like how we have been clumped in as podcasters and streamers here. We've just been clumped in with Twitch streamers and OnlyFans creators. You know, every good thing comes with a grain of leaven. That's all I'll say. So again, this is a great thing for people like us. Thank you, but also, man, like side by side with them Twitch streamers and OnlyFans creators is they're good old Basil and Gums, you know, benefiting from the Trump tax tip policies. But at least you know that if you support the show, folks, that less of what you support the show with your treasure is going back to the United States government. So at least you can say that, you know? So, hey, support us now. Go to canarycry.support if you want to support us. This is actually, I wish, this is such a great, oh man, you know, now that I'm thinking about this is, in effect, the biggest, ironically, advertisement for value, And it should be. This should be a moment for all, especially American culture, to say, hey, guys, value for value is the way to go. Forget traditional forms of advertising. I get it. In the upper echelons, this is how it works. There's no getting around it. But at the true digital grassroots level, everybody can participate in the value for value economy, support other projects, support other podcasts, support other people, and put out value for free, for the most part, pretty much free, and build this parallel economy, as they say, where people support each other and grow from there. But instead, it's just being characterized as OnlyFans and Twitch streamers. That's very frustrating. Man, truly, it's a moment, an opportune time for value to really make its mark out here, and instead it's just hey, yay for the OnlyFanners. Man, frustrating. Okay, let's move on a little bit here. I have one more story before I'm gonna call it today. How long have we been going? An hour and a half. Not too long. Not too bad. Let's see. Okay, I was going to talk a little bit about the situation in America when it comes to faith and religion. And I thought I had an article ready to go for this particular topic. I guess I didn't have... I thought I had an article. I guess I don't. Huh. Okay, let's see. Well, I did have this headline. Let's see. Let me just get this going here. It's got to be biblical. This was a video. I'm not going to play it here, but it's from Washington Examiner, and the headline for the video is "Why Gen Z Has Swum Back Towards Traditional Christianity. The Catholic, Reformed, and Orthodox churches are some of the fastest growing in the United States as Gen Z choose traditional church over contemporary ones." There were other reports saying that Protestantism is on a steep decline, whereas Catholicism is on the rise. And, that is very interesting because in the height of, maybe not the height, but it's part of the truth movement, at least from when I started looking into the various conspiracies and going into the truth space, if you will. I say it very loosely because it's such an operated place now. But early on, before the Zionists were everyone's target, it was the Jesuits. The Jesuits were called out, and I think rightfully so. You can see a lot of what their shenanigans have been over the centuries, truly. And so when you look at the modern day structure of Catholicism, first off, I mean, at the theological level, I personally have disagreements with the hierarchy of the Catholic Church and how that's been done. I tend to lean more towards what the Orthodox Church suggests with those lines of succession and whatnot, but still, it's they are traditions in a sense, and I'm not saying one is better than the other or anything like that. It's just with Catholicism, there seems to be a little bit more of a dark side, if you will, when it comes to the Black Pope and the Jesuit order and all that kind of stuff. And their influence in the development of truly Western Zionism, that's not to be overlooked. There is some history there. So it all kind of goes under the same umbrella ultimately. But the rise of Protestantism in America was truly post-World War II. And the Catholic Church was in that bandwagon, of course, but it was a Protestant church that really pushed out the agendas post-World War II, the psychological strategy board that we've talked about, putting a gun in one hand and a Bible in the other of Americans to fight and combat the communists. That was the message. That was the propaganda of the day because they wanted to go to more wars. We got to have more wars. Man, war is so profitable. We got to stir up a new war. Let's go against the commies. That includes Russia with the space race. That's Vietnam. We can really crush and go into Vietnam. And yeah, I guess we'll mess them up, and we're maybe not going to win the battles there on the ground. But at the very least, the military industrial complex can gain more power and authority over not just the citizens of the United States, but also around the world. And that took place. So we know that the power structures have always been the same. And the power structures of the intelligence operations, or even behind that, the principalities and powers, have gone through structured, institutionalized religious pillars. And so that's why when I see, and not that Protestantism itself is not that, clearly it was used in that way post World War II. So clearly that's the thing. It's a vehicle for propaganda, as with any institutionalized faith, religion, worldview. It doesn't matter. They can all become products of the control mechanism. So it's something to pay attention to, because you can put on different clothes. It doesn't matter if it's Protestant, Catholic, Orthodox. They can all be used if it is a place where large amounts of attention is garnered from the public. They will inevitably become used for purposes that are not in the best interest of the people. So, okay. So in that sense, the return to Catholicism, to a more of an anti-Protestant vibe, is also, I think, part of the re-enchantment process, because there is a mystical side to Catholicism that is sort of the underbelly of everything. Let me see if I can find a resource on that, because I know I did do some research on it, and it's a big topic that takes a lot of work to really uncover the history and trying to get into the nitty-gritty of it all. But in effect, with any type of mysticism, it doesn't matter if it's Jewish mysticism or Catholic mysticism, it's the idea that your visions, rituals, or spiritual encounters are just as much, or maybe even more valuable or profitable in a sense than Scripture itself. Like, Scripture is not sufficient. You need to have all these other things. And the Bible is pretty explicit about warning against those things. You got Colossians 2, let no one cheat you of your reward, taking delight in false humility and worship of angels, intruding into those things which has not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind. So this idea that they're doing so much good, the Catholic Church is doing so much good, and they just want humanity to improve, and blah, 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 blah. We saw how that narrative, or that sentiment, got co-opted just in the last 2-3 decades, with the Pope coming out here and saying, like, we need to make sure the climate is good, the climate change is going to destroy the earth, and blah, blah, blah. They became political voices. And so in the same way, a hyper populist / conservative uprising going into the Catholic Church, and really finding their spirituality, or looking for their spirituality through the Catholic Church, are being led down a certain type of mysticism that's apart from biblical Christianity. So close yet so far, right? So I think we're going to see a continued debate amongst this. And actually, it reminded me of one of the Trump cards on the Economist cover that I reference all the time. It's the Tower card that is so fascinating, had always been fascinating, because it depicts the split between the West and the East. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Here we go. Here's a Tower card on the far top left there. Oh, excuse me. And it is a tower that looks like the Protestant tower, right? Or I guess the Catholic Church, with what looks like a cross on the tower, which means it's some kind of Christian tower. And it has the a list or some kind of letter nailed to the door, which represents the Protestant Reformation period, the Martin Luther moment there, where the Reformation started, where Protestantism began. And we see a lightning bolt striking that tower. And on the left of the tower is the communist flag, and the right of the tower is the crucifix, which is specifically Catholic, right? Christians or Protestants normally don't. They'll show the cross as a symbol of Christianity, or a fish or something like that, but they don't necessarily put Christ's body up on the cross because, and this is just logic I've heard, we're re-crucifying Christ when you do that. It's kind of a borderline idol worship when it comes to making an image of a man being crucified on a cross. The idea being that Jesus conquered the grave through the cross. Not that, we just keep celebrating the fact that he was nailed to the cross and doing that. So the history of all of this, the theology of it all, it's up for debate, but I can see society going down that road of debate, especially in America, in the United States specifically, the debate between the two, the Catholicism and Protestantism. It'll continue to divide because look, control and or divide and conquer, that control mechanism doesn't work unless you have two sides to an argument. You got to have a Republican, Democrat, right-left paradigm to move forward. You got to have a conservative versus liberal, or in this case, Jewish, or in the last year or so, it's been the Jewish Zionist type of worldview versus Christian, and Christian being very general. Well, now we're coming to find out more specifically that it seems to be more Catholic. And I mean, look at Candace Owens. She is the perfect example of what I've been ranting about when it comes to the end of the Judeo-Christian ethic in America, or at least the perceived narrative that the Judeo-Christian ethic is the foundation of the country. I said that narrative is going to come to an end years ago, and now we saw that whole thing somewhat play out in the last year. It may not be mainstream information, but if you're paying attention at all in alt media, we know that that's been a split with just ideologies and worldviews coming to a head. And I think seeing Protestantism and Catholicism run head to head into each other as well, that'll probably become another type of split. And if you don't think there's precedent for that, we did a big episode on Canary Cry Radio about a year ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago now. I don't remember. Time goes by too fast. We did an episode on Ireland. Basil went to Ireland, interviewed some people, and to this day, there is a barrier in Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the rest of Ireland, because believe it or not, the Catholics wanted independence. The Protestants were cool with being part of the monarchy with the king. And so I'm not saying that's the case here in America, but you can see that historically, the Catholic-Protestant divide has caused quite a bit of turmoil to the point where they have a physical gate separating the two. They're both Christians, yet they fought wars because of geopolitical loyalty getting involved. And hey, that's a pretty good blueprint to control society. How about we, get the monotheistic faiths to fight each other? Obviously, the Muslims, the Islam, they're there. They've had their moment in the sun when it comes to being public enemy number one after 9/11 and everything. Let's set them aside for a moment for right now. They're still doing stuff in the Middle East and whatnot. But for right now, we're seeing this rise of the populist movement. And so let's go ahead and really, because the Zionists have so much influence in the United States, let's sort of expose that whole thing. Let's pin it up against Christianity. Let's make that division and really draw the lines right between those two so that it separates. And we clearly see that happening in the United States now. What's next? Well, you got the big crowd of Christians all somewhat agreeing with each other. That's a problem. Anytime you see a big group or a worldview ideology, people come to agree, like a large consensus of people agreeing with it, just be careful, because it doesn't mean that it's good or that it's true. It just means that a majority of people are ripe for some kind of movement, activity, action, belief in being pushed into some kind of hive mind behavior. So in any case, I'm just rambling on about all of this, as I always do when I have a solo show here. But it's truly something to pay attention to, because, you're going to go crazy just getting lost in the sauce with all the things going on in the world. And every day is a different piece of news. It's a different part of the building up of the New World Order, the tearing down of the New World Order, the building up of this narrative, this agenda, that agenda. I mean, the Bible says it. The scriptures plainly and openly told us, Jesus' own words in Matthew 24, that there will be wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines, pestilence, earthquakes in various places. It's just the beginning of the birth pains. And so we're just seeing the beginnings of it all. Things are going to get stranger. It's going to get worse. We will truly know when the fulfillment begins, because the scriptures say that the saints will be conquered. Whatever the beast system is, the 10 kings, that come into power on behalf of this beast in conjunction, in relationship with Mystery Babylon, in tandem in a way. This particular entity, or at least at first, ultimately the beast is used as judgment against Mystery Babylon, which ironically, the beast itself is destroyed later. So it's not like the beast was the good guy. It was just God's way of using the beast to judge perhaps his divorced ex-wife, if I can put it that way. And that all ends. It's all in scripture there. But in the meantime, you can see how the world can come together and ultimately hate followers of Jesus Christ, specifically those followers of Jesus Christ who aren't falling under the party lines, or even maybe perhaps the succession of the papacy, or because the deception, if the elect are going to be deceived, everything's going to sound Christian, it's going to look Christian, everything's going to look normal or good or representative of Christ, but that's going to be the deception. If you don't have your discernment, if you're not studied up in the Word of God, you will be susceptible to a certain type of deception. And that's why that's been just our biggest message, is that, hey, just study the Word, get familiar with it, because the more you know, the more you are not susceptible to the lies, to the deception. It's that old analogy. This is an analogy that gets used a lot for crypto, but I think we can use it for this particular situation when it comes to just keeping tabs of world events and understanding what's going on. The old analogy goes like this, basically, that if you are someone who handles dollar bills and you handle the real dollar bill every single day, right? The real thing, you're touching it, you're looking at it, you just know all the nooks and crannies of a real dollar bill. You are more likely to spot a fake dollar bill if a fake dollar bill ever ends up in your hands. And it's because they're familiar with the real deal. And so if you're not familiar with true cash, then somebody can give you a counterfeit dollar. You won't know any better. Then you go to your local restaurant or whatever, you try to pay in cash, they get that little marker out, they swipe the cash there, and sorry, can't accept that cash because it's fake. So in the same way, if you're not familiar with the truth, you're more susceptible to the lies. That's just a very practical application of studying Bible prophecy. One that I don't think is, I know it's used for just basic Bible study, but I think as time goes on, we should highlight the aspect of studying eschatology along with that, because it almost applies even more nowadays. As the hour or the days get closer, the hour is running out for the enemy. It's just important to know that the deceptions are going to become ever more stronger, ever more powerful, and ever more crazy. We're going to be there. And ultimately, the conquering of the saints. That's the other thing that's very uncomfortable. In a lot of the scriptures in the book of Revelation and other places, once the Antichrist beast comes to power, they're able to conquer the saints. What does that mean? Does that mean even good just people that are thought to be believers are going to go after other believers? Perhaps jail them, murder them? I don't know how it will look exactly or precisely, but we know that the saints will be conquered. And that's the world we're going to live in. That's when we will really know, because we know that this has happened. The persecution of true followers of Christ has been happening since the resurrection and ascension of Christ in the first century. So for over 2,000 years, in various pockets of places, time periods, believers, followers of Christ have been persecuted, have been killed. And so that's part of history. But when it comes to that sentiment becoming worldwide, that'll be a whole different ball game. And it's hard to imagine, but maybe not. Maybe not. As we see a majority of American conservatives begin to shift, maybe this is a generational thing, I don't know, but begin to shift on certain topics like modern nation state Israel. Why are we so tied to them? Why do we owe them so much? Why are we paying them billions of dollars each year? Why are we giving them weapons? And the younger people start asking those types of questions. I think we're entering a time when, if you don't know, or at least familiar with the scriptures, you're gonna start getting lost in all the different ops that are going on at various levels, because it's no longer just a one layer op where, hey, the mainstream media lies and you better put your guard up because they're going to lie to you. Well, that's true. But now we're at the point where mainstream media is going to lie to you, and then alt media is going to push back on the mainstream narrative, gain credibility and trust, but they also might spin some lies your direction of a different kind, perhaps, but one that nonetheless will keep you engaged, keep you activated, because we live in an attention economy, and that attention is getting shorter and shorter. Things need to be more and more sensational. And I was thinking about this the other day. What are some of the biggest, I don't know, tarot cards, let's just say, that haven't been played yet when it comes to getting everyone's attention? Well, let's see. The Trump meme coin, although in crypto was a big deal, and maybe the world kind of looked at it and said, I don't know about this. It wasn't a moment where everybody stopped doing what they're doing. Trump getting shot, that was a moment where I feel like everybody, especially on the internet, stopped. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that happened. Is it real? What's going on? I mean, that was, in the last year, the Trump assassination attempt was the biggest content generation event ever. So what have they not used yet? And I was thinking about it. There's the Epstein thing. I don't know. It feels like we're being strung along, and it feels like carrot on a stick. But if a big thing drops with Epstein, that's one thing that could unite the world's attention all at once. Trump and UFOs, Trump and aliens, that could be another one that really stops the world and makes everybody gasp, depending on what it looks like. I don't know. I don't know if it's Trump exposing the bad aliens or Trump himself as an alien. I don't know. I don't know what it would look like, but that would certainly cause everyone to take pause. But there is also the sentiment that we're just all way too distracted, and we're just all, I don't know, where everybody's kind of caught in some kind of trap of op when it comes to world news, world events, because, let's say Trump announces that he's actually an alien, and that he's in partnership with all the good aliens, and they're going to come back, they're going to fix the world, they're going to help get rid of the true criminals in this world, and blah, blah, blah. That to someone like us in the truth community, we would be like, this is it. This is the great deception. Trump might be the Antichrist. This is the alien deception agenda we've been screaming about for 12 years. But then most people will be like, whoa, Trump announced aliens, verified aliens. Is there a meme coin for that? Who's got the meme? Who's launching the meme? Who's launching Trump the alien or whatever? Like, they're going to go back to whatever they're doing. We're so distracted. Our attention spans are so small now that I don't know. Like, even Trump is dead over the weekend. Yeah, it caused a stirring, but if you're not on social media, you didn't know that was trending, but the Trump assassination attempt transcended all that. So I'm just looking at what types of events or what type of news event would be transcending of the current silos of informational bubbles that exist all over. And that's something we try to mention a lot, is like, hey, we want to equip you as a listener and as maybe a producer or somebody who's just been casually listening. I mean, my goal has always been not just to break down the news and have a cool take on something, but more so to equip everybody to be able to do their own analysis and their own research about things going on out there. And I feel blessed to know that, this type of content and stuff has inspired others to start creating similar content and similar types of analysis on various issues going on in the world. And I encourage that. I really, truly encourage that for everybody, knowing that you are stepping into the op, if you will, the decentralization of the intelligence apparatus. You are participating in that game should you choose to really speak out in the way that, publicly, like we have here on the internet and through our own little platform. But it's just one of those situations and a time period in civilization, society, where if you don't say anything, you're basically an NPC. You're a non-player. What does NPC stand for? I forget what NPC stands for. Non something. Not a real player. Like you're just an algo. You're just a data point in the algorithm that's analyzing everything. If you speak up, you can actually say something of substance to expose the apparatus or the corruption or whatever it may be. And I guess the danger there is that you will get sucked up. Your influence and power, should you gain any, gets taken advantage of by those who have a more nefarious purpose or a longer term purpose to get you to say something or do something that can be that is compromising to the the greater mission. That's why we stay value for value, and we continue to point to Christ, because we know that as long as we're on that narrow path, that and pointing to Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior, nothing else in this world, then we're doing our part to preach the gospel, to love God, and to love our neighbor. And so that's the ultimate thing here: the equipping of the knowledge, but also the inspiration. The inspiration has to come from the Holy Spirit. It's not from us, but maybe we can invoke something in your heart that gets stirred up to want to preach the gospel and do so in a unique way, because I know everyone's got a purpose. Everyone's got a calling in their own way, and ministry doesn't always look like an online YouTube channel or next channel or something like that. Evangelism and preaching the gospel is living it out, and it's with your coworkers, it's with your family, it's a whole different thing. It's just how you carry yourself, how you move through the world, and those are all important things. And really, truly, if you're doing something online of this nature, it's extending some of those real life things and just presenting it on the internet. And if there are enough people that are willing to support you back, which we feel blessed that is the case here, then we can create this symbiotic relationship ourselves. We don't have to rely on mainstream news. In fact, we can expose the mainstream news and stay vigilant against all the alt media as truly independent media here at Canary Cry News Talk and Canary Cry Radio. Okay, I think that is pretty much a show there. You can go to canarycry.support to support us. If you got anything out of this show or a past show, we are approaching episode 900. I know that it's not as rapid as when we were doing 3 shows a week, but we are close, folks. We're about 20, less than, or just about 25 episodes away from that milestone. So as we approach it, and I think we'll be into, I'm not mistaken, it'll be into 2026 when we actually hit that 900th episode mark. But it's brick by brick. The way I see it, the grind, the day to day. I don't know if you can tell, folks, but people like Basil and I, we are fairly resilient individuals. We don't like to quit. We don't like to have setbacks destroy us or kill us, or we had, and the ultimate test being when the YouTube channel went down, when Face Like the Sun went down, or was taken or suspended or whatever. It was truly a moment where I thought, oh, maybe I can just quit. Maybe I should just quit. Maybe I should go to another platform and just start fresh, start completely over. And maybe I have. You never know. Maybe I am doing something out there anonymously that is separated from Face Like the Sun and Canary Cry and everything else that can also bring about God's truth, but do so in a completely different vehicle. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. I don't know. I would know, but I don't know. I don't know for sure yet. But in any case, this is I see it as an opportunity and as really a calling and almost a mandate that in this time period, especially, to continue to push content out there, because we know that we're not the most popular. We know that we're not the most sensational. We're not going to get all the clicks. We're not seeking for attention. We're just none of those things, but we continue to publish content. We continually, consistently are analyzing everything. We have not wavered from our faith. And, even if you're a non-believer and you're listening to the show, which I know there are some atheists out there who do listen to the show, and we welcome you here, because hopefully there's something about our consistency and our grit and grind that inspires you to maybe look into some of the topics that we've been talking about from a different perspective or different angle, or even pick up the Bible and read it yourself. And, usually that creates more questions, more curiosity, and just the desire to study those things and come to your own conclusions. So there you go. There you go. I just want to continue to, first of all, thank God for everything. Praise God for the opportunity to do something like this and keeping us. I truly do feel that the Lord has kept us kind of under the radar for a reason. Like we didn't, there were multiple opportunities, and I've talked about this before, especially while the populist movement was on the rise. We can see a bunch of younger influencers pop up, new streamers, new influencers, new whatever, new YouTubers, new Christian YouTubers getting popular and all this kind of stuff. And some of them, not all of them, but some of them used MAGA and the political vehicle to propel themselves forward into more popularity and whatnot. And we saw it in 2006, the opportunity to really jump on that Trump bandwagon. If I put on a MAGA hat in 2016, rest assured, I would have probably turned off 50, 60, 70% of the audience that was there at the time, but I would have gained a whole bunch more people who are all MAGA, super MAGA people. And I could have done that. And I decided not to in 2016 and 2021, same thing. I mean, when we saw, I saw last year, not 2021, but 2024, we were seeing the populist uprising. And it would have been very easy to put the MAGA hat on and get in there and try to, ride up that wave with everybody on the MAGA train. It's just not something that we were interested in doing. And in hindsight, over time, I think those are the better decisions because those things are fads. Part of the conversation about motivation is temporary. You can't rely on motivation because if you're not motivated one day, you're just not going to do something that you're supposed to be doing because you're not motivated. Motivation is not a very good fuel to build something and to do something. You want to dedicate on something that's much more foundational, built on solid rock, solid ground. And that's where leaning on Jesus Christ for us, that's where that comes from. Because truly, he's the eternal one. What's today? What's a generation? What, even 150 years? What's 150 years in the sight of God? A flash, and we get to participate in this tiny little sliver of a moment in history and do our part in, changing people's lives, not for our benefit, but for the benefit of those other souls and for the benefit of God. And I think that is a much bigger cosmic mission going on here than simply, just doing a podcast or just, saying the popular thing or saying the logical thing to get some support or whatnot. So there you go. canarycry.support. That's where you can go to get all the information on how to support us. You can do so, support us with your time, talent, and treasure or treasure. It doesn't matter. Do it.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Okay. I think I've rambled long enough here. You have had enough. Don't invest in Gavin's meme coin. Man, we just can't get rid of this guy, huh? He's just going to be around everywhere. He's going to show up in my nightmares. I really think, the scary thing is that I'm willing to maybe vote for somebody that can get Newsom out. I'll bite the political apple if it means we can get Newsom out. But I'm probably going to pay for that later, right? After my whole rant about sticking to Jesus and everything, I'm like, get Newsom out of there. And it's just, I've noticed that, especially, there's a mixture in my church right now of younger and older folks. And I love some of the older generation. It's so awesome because they understand. And I've had these conversations with them about hey, I'm not right. I'm not right. I'm not left. I'm kind of looking at this from a different angle and whatnot. And they understand that. And so it's funny for them to, when they express something, they will say that, yes, it's a spiritual battle, that say all the things, but they'll say hey, what I think, the Trump administration is doing when it comes to illegal immigrants is a great thing. And it's just, they can't separate themselves from that political thing going on. I find it endearing in a sense when it comes from the older folk. It's cute to me, and not that they're wrong. It's not that they're wrong. It's just that it's just hard to shake out of certain issues when it comes to political things, just because it has been defined by politics. Whatever topic, it's been defined by politics, and so any conversation you have about it becomes politicized, becomes political. It doesn't matter what angle it is. So there you go. Okay. That's all I have for you. Oh, a few things to mention here. Cage Rattler Coffee. If you want some of the best coffee and you want to support the show, you can do that by going to cagerattlercoffee.com. And this is a great way to get your caffeine fix as well as support the show. Sir Ike has helped us build this whole thing. And it's actually not even ours. It's not ours. It's producer put this together. We just kind of signed off on the fact that, hey, you can use the Canary Cry brand and everything else. And that goes for everybody else out there. If you want to put together your own brand or product or something, and you kind of want to tailor it to the Canary Cry universe, you're free to do so. It's not, you don't have to get unless you completely hijack everything, you can certainly do so. Definitely contact us if you're thinking about doing something like that, but it's something that you can do, and it's a way to help out. And so we were grateful for people like Sir Ike to step up and produce the show in the way he does. It's truly on all levels. I mean, he's one of these guys doing time, talent, and treasure. All the different ways you can support the show. He's doing it all. But in that process, Cage Rattler Coffee is one of those ways where you can actually get something that you're going to buy anyway, coffee, while supporting the show. So go check it out. CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
Do the survey. I saw somebody say the survey link isn't working. I checked it and it's still working. So I don't know what the deal is there, but yes, go do that survey. And I'm sure we will have a fresh new survey on Monday, folks. Yeah, all your survey people, you've been waiting a long time for a fresh new survey. That's coming up. Canary Cry meetups again. Missouri meetup number 3 in downtown Rolla, Saturday, September 27th at 1:11 p.m. at the All Seeing Alex's Pizza. Go to canarycrymeetups.com to get all the information there, the RSVP, and go to that one. Go to this meetup. This is going to be one of the good ones. All right. Is that it? Do I need to say anything else? Is anything breaking? No, we're good. Okay. There it is, everybody. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for your support. There will not be a Canary Cry coin. That is not in the plans. I guess I should have turned on the comments down here on the show. I wonder why that turns off every time. Strange. Yeah, we're not going to do it. You know what's funny too? There is already a Canary Cry. I think it's a Canary Cry radio inscription token on ordinal. Is it ordinals? I think it's runes actually. On the Bitcoin blockchain, there is a Canary Cry radio token. It is worth 0, folks. It is worth 0. I don't know. Somebody might have been experimenting a little bit with inscriptions on Bitcoin and maybe have created a Canary Cry radio coin on runes. But I don't know. It's worth nothing. Don't look for it. Don't get it. This is not financial advice. Actually, this is financial advice. Don't buy the token. It is worth nothing, folks. It's an experiment. And we will not do a Canary Cry coin anytime soon. Now, we may have some Canary Cry digital assets in the future, but that's a little bit more fun. They're more collectibles, things of that nature. Especially if you're part of the supply drop, there might be some things moving in that direction finally. So do that. Go to canarycrysupplydrop.com if you'd like to learn more. It's just a way to support us on a monthly support basis. And as a thank you for the monthly support, every quarter we drop a box to your front door filled with cool Canary Cry branded or adjacent the bunker, anything else going on. Just Canary Cry stuff, a box of Canary Cry stuff that you can get every quarter, and includes swag too. We had that prayer hat. I don't know where it is right now, but we had the prayer hat last drop, and there are some other cool things coming in the next drop. So definitely do that. We extended the support for another week, so I believe you got a couple more days to sign up for the next quarter here, the next drop before the cutoff. So go to canarycrysuppport.com. The community, if you need to connect with people in this community, there are many ways you can do that. You can go to canarycry.party. You'll see all kinds of links there. You'll see the text message notification. You get all the links to the different platforms where we are. You can find the different social platforms. Let's see. I'm trying to find the exact spot here. Here we go. Join the Canary Cry family. canarycry.community. That's one that you should definitely consider going to. It's more of a forum style. It's a little slower pace, but it's a great place that is that people can just feel good about. It's a real safe space. It's safe, just like Trump said. It's a safe place. You walk in there, you won't die, you won't get shot. You just a good place to talk about your fringiest theology-based, kind of questions, and feel safe in there. So there's that. Check that out. And also we do have a Discord and a Telegram chat and everything. So we have all those things. You go to canarycry.party for all the links, and you'll get that there. Oh, Canary Cry T-shirt Council. I don't know what the update is on all that. I don't run all the logistics in the background. However, I know that we're close. This is a similar type of deal. You sign up for monthly support, and as a thank you, we will send you, or you guys will vote for, a shirt design that will drop every quarter. So another one of those cool things that we got going on. And this is how we've done it, folks. No pictures of it's just no bad pictures or paywalled content here. Everything's open, everything's free, and if you get value out of any of it, all we ask is that you consider putting value back into the show with your time, talent, or treasure. We will thank you on air, all of you, on Monday. It's going to be a big producer party, and we'll get caught up on all the producers, executive producers who produce over $100 per episode. You'll get your streaks going. We have tons of producers on hundreds of episodes of streaks, which means basically they've been supporting the show consistently every episode, some for I think over 500 episodes. They have given their treasure, even if it's a small amount, a little bit of treasure to each episode that we've published. And truly, those are the people that we want to give back to, because you guys have really made it possible for the show to go on and continue to exist. And it's allowed me to not have to go, try to find a job at some office somewhere. And not that there's anything wrong with an office job. You got to do what you got to do. I just know personally for me, I will go insane if I was stuck in a cubicle and doing menial tasks, helping some corporation get rich off of my time. This is not something that I can't do personally. I've been not in a corporate job per se. I've been in those types of jobs though that have it's like a normal job, if you will. And I just struggle philosophically with the whole thing. And it's just a tough thing for me personally. So for me to be able to do something like this as part of my living, it is a true blessing. And trust me when I say that I am very grateful to God and to all of you that support the show in that way. So thank you very much for all of you. Thank you for being here. Check out the show. Oh, Canary Cry Clubhouse probably tomorrow. Patriot Day. 111 days left in the year. That's not tomorrow. That's next week. That's next Thursday. Tomorrow is the anniversary of Google being founded. Great. We can celebrate that. Oh, today was Adam Curry's birthday. Oh no. I forgot that it was Adam Curry's birthday. Well, I'm going to clip this. Adam Curry. Hold on. I'm going to pull up a picture of Adam Curry. That's going to be the last thing that I do before I go here. Adam Curry. I don't know how old he is now, but, let's see. He is 1964, which makes him, 61? 61 years. Adam is 61? looking fantastic for 61, Adam. Happy birthday, Adam Curry.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to
There you go. Happy birthday, Adam Curry. Have a good one. I'm sure tomorrow's No Agenda episode will be one for the ages. The Podfather over at No Agenda, whom we've interviewed before. He's the co-inventor of the RSS feed. So if you're listening to the podcast through a podcast player, he's the guy that basically co-created it. And also he's the co-host of the podcast No Agenda, which inspired the News Talk show quite a bit, especially with the value for value support model. And, you know, I got to think, I know No Agenda is truly openly value for value. I know there's a group of other podcasters that operate under value for value. And man, I really need to connect with all of them because we share an ethos that few are able to succeed in. So something to keep in mind. And so there you go. Happy birthday, Adam Curry. And last but not least, this was some breaking news coming out of Burning Man. Apparently, Basil, there was a baby born in Burning Man, the first baby ever born at Burning Man. All indications tell us that this was Basil. Basil had a baby at Burning Man, according to K-Man. This is footage of the... Oh my goodness, this music is so loud. I don't want the music. There's a pregnant woman being holding a baby from a googly-eyed man. Why is she still pregnant if she had the baby? That's what I would like to know. But according to the Daily Star, according to K-Man, Basil Rosewater had a baby at Burning Man. And that's how I will leave you today for episode 873. Oh no, stop, please. Episode 873 of Canary Cry News Talk. Again, if you get anything out of it, please consider supporting the show. Go to canarycrynewstalk.com. Go to canarycry.support.com and consider your support. All right. If you want to share the show, you should definitely do that or not. We don't know yet. We've been through the ups and downs. We've seen the backfire of people sharing the show. More people learn about it and hate it. We've seen the positives of sharing the show, of more people coming in, tuning in. We've also seen the opposite from not sharing the show, where people feel like they have a place where they belong, where you're not distracted by other people who might not like the show. So it works both ways. You decide. But if you do decide to wake other people up to the show, you can go right up to him, grab him by the cage, and shake him.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
The human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
Ask Noah. Where's my music? There it is. All right. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate all of you for being here. We will be back on Monday with a new episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Basil will be back. We'll have a producer party, and we will continue to cover all the crazy stuff going on out there and stay grounded through all of it, because our loyalties are not here, folks. It's with our Lord Jesus Christ. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. We'll see you all next time. And until then, think outside the cage.
They're going to probably try and rattle her cage a little bit more.
This is the United States of America, for God's sake.
It will kill.
Feed him more toilets. Feed him more toilets. Do not come back, you Nazi psychopath.
world. Bye!
And a resounding baka flies through the air across the world. Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Rattle their cage. You have a lot of people screaming randomly. Why don't you shout? It'll be their call out. You have a lot of people screaming randomly.
Give me a break. Go ahead and...
Why don't you shout?
Why are you screaming like a wild bird?
Necro-capitalism.
Profiteers of death.
He's a Satanist from one of the Satanist churches here where they sacrifice babies.
It will kill.
This is the patience of the saints. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with a sword. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God in the faith of Jesus. In the faith of Jesus. We count them happy which endure. You have heard of the patience of Job and have seen the end of the Lord. That the Lord is very pitiful in the tender mercy. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God in the faith of Jesus. In the faith of Jesus.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.